Cloud. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sending Ravens. And look who I have as a guest. I'm so excited. Michael Jaco. Michael, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Janine. Thanks for having me on.
Oh yeah, everybody's been really excited about this interview. I've been telling people you were coming on. And I also told everybody that you were my first red pill, like your videos really helped red pill me. So I've eternally grateful to you for that. Just the way you presented really helped me understand. You're really good at laying out the groundwork for somebody who's literally just starting to wake up. And I know you've been awake for a really long time, just from what I understand about you. But why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, just from the beginning? How did this all come to be? How did you get on YouTube as a truther? All the other channels you're on.
Yeah, from my background as a Navy SEAL, I was a Navy SEAL for 24 years, and while I was a Navy SEAL, I went to the highest levels of the Navy SEALs, SEAL Team 6, which is the anti-terrorist team. So you're handpicked and you go through specialized training and so forth. So from there, when I left the SEAL teams, I went into my own business for a little period of time, and then I started working for the CIA. So that it's kind of like, my dreams as a little kid was to be a Navy SEAL. And then as a young teenager, I was reading, James Bond books, and I was like, someday I want to be like James Bond. And so I fulfilled, those two aspects of my youth. So it was pretty fun. So the truther aspect started to come probably around the time frame where, that crazy thing started happening a couple of years ago. So I started to see from my training and everything that bioweapons were probably going to be the next thing we were going to have a problem with. So I saw that coming in, and I started talking about it. And so that was kind of where I really got going. And then it became, once a week, and then twice a week, and then 3 times a week, and then every day. And then sometimes, like today, I have like 3 shows. So I'm constantly getting out there trying to dispel disinformation and bring the truth to people.
Yeah, and you do that. You absolutely do. You're one of actually the most prolific truthers out there. Like every time I go on YouTube, there's a couple of new videos with Michael Jaco and to watch, which I find really exciting. Also, you go really into the woo. What I find really cool is that you go on both sides. You get the intel, which is really exciting for a lot of people viewing. And then you also get the woo, because you are psychic, intuitive, a distance viewer. I don't know if there's any other way I could describe that. You might have a different word for what you would call it. How did you get into that?
It kind of came around when I was in the SEAL teams. There were a lot of people that were Vietnam vets that I worked with in the early days. And these guys seem to have like this psychic ability. And there are many of us that wanted to have those types of skills too. So I think that when you want something and you want it, you desire it very strongly, a lot of times it's going to reveal itself to you in some way. So I started to go down their pathways. I started to expand myself. There were a very small group of us, in this kind of information. I went into Apache scout skills from this one gentleman that was running the survival and tracking and what he called scout. So Apache scout. So the Apache scouts from antiquity would go out by themselves and make sure their tribe was safe. So they would go look at the other tribes and see if there was a problem there, and they would come back, report back. So I learned from this one guy that they use spirit to actually go out and view. So I learned those skills, and I started to apply them in the SEAL teams and eventually in the CIA, and they're very effective. So that, sending the consciousness out and actually seeing things is a capability that we all have.
Now, were they receptive when you brought that to the CIA, or had they already been dabbling in that kind of thing, do you think?
They they were receptive as much as they can be, because a lot of the people in the CIA are very analytical. They gather information. They're taught to, be very analytical, not get outside of a box. For my training as a Navy SEAL, I was always outside the box. I was always looking for, how is everybody else thinking? And I want to think outside that range. So eventually they started to see that I had these abilities, and because I was warning them about attacks and so forth. And they're like, how do you do this? And I was like, well, I sent up my consciousness. And they were like, we don't understand how you do that. We don't believe in that. But if you see something, let us know. So, that was fun. I was okay with that. At least they weren't sending me home, So eventually I started to teach them. I would come to a station, whether it be Iraq or Afghanistan or wherever I was in the world that was a combat area. And they would ask me, because they heard about my abilities, and they want me to teach them. So I would get classes. So there was some reception, later on in my career. So it was pretty cool.
Wow. How many years were you in those kind of careers? Would you say you were fully out of them now? You're fully like in the truther world or the bringing of information world?
Yeah, 24 years in the SEAL teams, and then 11 years in the CIA. Once I left the CIA, because I saw some problems in the CIA, and that's one of the reasons why I left. I pretty much cut all ties, and I think they wanted those ties cut. And in fact, they weren't too generous with me after I left, because I was a truther and I had to expose some stuff, and they didn't like that. Yeah.
And do you feel in danger because of that? Or were you ever in danger because of that?
Most definitely. Yeah. They definitely tried to quite literally kill me several times. And
wow.
And I think what happens when they can't kill you, they're like, this person is protected, so we're going to back off and just keep an eye on them and make their life difficult. But, there's nothing we can do because they're protected. And they understand that, they know that.
I believe some people have spiritual protection. And if they're karmically meant to, do the work they're doing, they're going to be protected. And I'm thinking you're one of those people. I feel like I'm one of those people too. And I also believe that what we believe creates itself. And I firmly believe the bad guys aren't getting me this lifetime. I'm done with those guys. I got a feeling you have the same kind of energy. I've heard you talk like that. So am I right about that? Do you feel that?
Absolutely. There was an experience that I had when I was in Iraq. It was when I first started going overseas and working as a contractor. I remember rising out of my body, and I was having an out-of-body experience, and I was completely aware, just like I'm aware right now. And I'd always heard about this. People had these out-of-body experiences, so I'm like, I'm having one of those finally. I've been wanting one of these for such a long time. And then I heard you always look down just so you can get a relative, what's happening. So I looked down and I was dead. I had been, blown to bits. I was like, I'm dead. And that's such a bummer, because I'm really getting good at these spiritual skills, and I've been helping a lot of people. And then I got this presence of Archangel Michael. And I looked up, and there it was, wings spread out, and this love energy came into me. And then I went back in time, back into my body. And there was a huge explosion outside the little hooch that I was living in at the time. And I sat up and I was like, oh, that angel put me back in time and back in my body. So I was like, wow, that was weird. So I didn't even know who Archangel Michael was at the time. So research and so forth, I finally figured it out. I'm still impacted by that experience, more than 20 years later. It's pretty impressive. So yeah, protected. I had a chance to come back and contribute to humanity, and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I went ahead in time in a visualization once and saw myself as about at least 80 or maybe even 90. And I was gardening and in really good spirits. pure white hair. Yeah, it was me though. And I saw myself and I'm like, okay, I'm going to live a good long time. I think it was a sign. And so I better just, like, to me, it's like even starting at 60 as a truther, redoing my whole career, giving up the last 35 years of my clientele. I was like, no, I got a long life. So this is my whole new start. And I got a feeling that sort of vision of ourselves just really helps us, propel us, and keep going. It's good to ask for those visions.
Mhm.
Yeah. Can you tell me about your feelings about Trump from the start, like when he first started running and whatever? Were you a fan?
Yeah, I'd been a fan of Trump for decades. So I read all of his books. I got a lot of insight from his books, and I followed his life. I was very impressed with him. When he came down the escalator with Melania, I knew that he was going to win. And the reason why is because 2 years before that, I was planning on leaving the U.S. because I knew that I felt the U.S. was compromised. And like we talk about, visions come to us sometimes. And I got a vision that the white hats, because I knew they were around, because I'd had experiences with them my whole career. I knew that they were basically going to insert someone. There was going to be a coup against the bad guys. And so I was like, I wonder what that is. So I'm not going to leave then. So then, Trump came down the escalator and said, aha, there it is. There it is. And I knew that he was going to win. They were going to put him in. So, I've been a long time supporter, fan of his. So I still, think he's amazing. I have past life memories of, being with him and working with him. So it's pretty impressive.
Now, when did the past life part come into it? Because you talk a lot about past lives. We've discussed past lives we've had together. Cards have confirmed it. When did you first start realizing these and/or having visions of your past lives and memories?
It's been a little over 20 years ago is when I first started. I started just as I was leaving the SEAL teams. I was in Virginia Beach at the time. I went to the Edgar Cayce Institute because that always was intrigued by past lifetimes. I was like, okay, now it's time for me to focus on that because I'm basically was leaving the SEAL teams, my career. And I felt that I was going to be able to, focus more on the spiritual side, which I did. So I went to ARE. I was doing volunteer work, researching past lifetimes at ARE. And then I got to be friends with a woman that worked there. And she told me about this one woman, Mary Roach, that did past life readings that most of them, went to. Mm-hmm. And she said that most of us here at the ARE are former Essenes. And I was like, Essene, what's that? And she said, that's the group that Jesus was with. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. So I went to Mary Roach and she told me about, past lives and, being with Jesus and so forth. And even as a little kid, I knew there was some kind of connection that I had with Jesus. So she confirmed all that stuff. And so over time, I started to get more and more into the past lifetimes. That was an awakening process for me. And then, that process continued. Eventually, I got to the point where I started to see other people, around me that were in my life, like my wife and friends and so forth. So Trump was one of them. Trump and I have been in many, many lifetimes together. He's actually part of my direct soul group. So you have soul groups that you do many lifetimes with. When you're first incarnated, you come in with a soul group, and he was one of my original incarnation soul group.
Wow. I wonder if we're in a soul group together because of all the lifetimes we've shared. And also the fact that your videos, so there was a lot of people doing videos, but people really will hear it from a specific person. Like, and really, like, a lot of people will say, well, I can't write a book on the subject because so many people have already wrote a book about that particular subject. And I always remind them, everybody has their audience. If they're meant to write a book, a certain amount of people will only hear it from them. And you were one of them that really stands out that I could hear it from. It just rang true to me, and I just felt what you were talking about. So I wonder if that had a recognition to it. I wonder if there's an undertone. I bet.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
we can look into that.
Yeah.
But I was just saying that we've been in Egypt together. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know if that resonates with you, but you know, I sometimes
Yeah.
things just pop in. So just before the show, I never had this come in before. I was like, Janine and I have been in Egypt together. We worked together in Egypt.
I
So
have
a lot of lifetimes,
yeah.
you and I help each other. So I helped you in this lifetime, but we've talked about how, you know, you've helped the Medici. And I think that when you passed on, that was when the Medici fell. So, you know, so you can have a major impact on, you know, helping consciousness. And when you depart, sometimes it falls off. And I've seen that, you know, many of my lifetimes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
There was another thing that I watch you do on some of your videos when you work with the singing bowls.
Mm-hmm.
And that really affects me when you work with those bowls. When did you start learning or knowing that you had that kind of a talent? That's a healing talent, I think.
Mm-hmm. It kind of came in with the remote viewing, remote influencing that kind of like, you know, happened. Remote healing started to come through for me. And I always like the different vibrational frequencies and stuff like that. And I was going to Mount Shasta a lot, and there was like these crystal bowls that were there. And I remember seeing them for many years. I'd go up there and you know, spend some time up there. And then eventually I bought some and started to, you know, play around with them. And yeah, they're magical. It's you can feel if the bowl is it has a certain frequency. Each bowl is different, and their frequency will align with, you know, different areas of the body, like the heart or the throat or the pineal gland, or even, you know, higher consciousness. So I was learning how I could feel those different frequencies in my body. And so the heart, you know, and the mind, the pineal gland, I wanted to get that connection, because I'd heard so much about that. When you have that good connection, you have good connection to like God, source, and so forth. And I felt that was helping me, you know, get my spiritual side very in tune and very aligned to things that were going on in the world. So I wanted to do that. And so, yeah, I just really got into it. It was amazing.
Yeah. Like when you did the one on Mother's Day, I think was it last year?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that one really had a big effect. And
Cool.
my feeling when you were doing that, or when I was watching, because I probably watched after the live, because I don't usually catch right on the live, but my feeling about it was that you were directly channeling the divine feminine, which I don't know if you were intending to do that, but I thought, you know, who would be the best to directly align with the divine feminine would be a divine masculine. And to me, it's like watching, and I hope you don't mind me, I'm going to say, I would say you would be a divine masculine example in the world. And it's so necessary for men to watch somebody be in their divine masculine and honor the divine feminine. To me, that's like part of the balance that's coming. We're going to need leaders that are divine masculine and, of course, divine feminine. And yeah, it's watching you do those singing bowls. I'm like, okay, we got ourselves a divine masculine who's honoring the divine feminine. That is like what's going to bring the balance back into the world.
Yeah. I've had many lifetimes where I've done this, you know, help bring in the divine feminine stronger. So it's, once you start to realize that, and I think that's one of the reasons why I'm really attracted to, especially now, I got that you're really going to focus on, you know, teaching people past lifetimes now. And so a lot of the stuff that I'm doing now is going to be focused on helping people, connect with their past lifetimes. Because for me, once I did that, it really brought in a lot of the things that I've been working on throughout many lifetimes. And when you make that connection, instead of like doing the work again in this lifetime, you see the work you've done, and it's just like, it just comes through so quickly, so easily.
Is that something you would say is what you're going towards? Like, I know you have a bit of an academy where you teach a lot of your skills.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that was going to be a big part of what you're going to be teaching in the future?
Oh, definitely. So I've been doing live events lately, and that's what I've been focusing on. Not just the awakening the intuition, but also once you've done that, to start going into the past lifetimes, because that's what really happened for me. Once I awaken my intuitive side, my feminine side, then the past lifetime started coming through. So if you're very analytical, if you're, and when I say analytical, a lot of people are stuck in that masculine side of the brain, and we're trained to stay in that, not get out of that. Anything outside of that is like ridiculous. You don't pay attention to that. It's all like fluff. No, that is the most incredible part of being a human being, connecting with that divine feminine. So when I started doing that, my whole life opened up in a major way. So I highly recommend that, that other people do that, not just men, but women too. Women get trapped in that as well. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they say, this is something I learned a long time ago, that women meditating too much can bring them out of balance, out of their feminine and more into their masculine. And and I found that to be true. So I just avoid meditation. I believe for the feminine, if you want to stay in your feminine as a woman and really enhance being in that place, because you came here as a woman this lifetime, you might as well really get into it and experience it. Mm-hmm. I found that music and sort of sensual dance, so dance around the house, listening to my favorite music, and ritual baths and creating ritual space for myself was better than meditating, because the meditating would bring me really into my more masculine side. Mm-hmm. But the movement and filling instead of eliminating, like, because meditation eliminates and wants to go into Zen, but the feminine likes to fill up with love or visuals or music, so it's a different thing. Both are absolutely necessary in our life, but I found that the dance and the music and doing something more sensual and more physical and literally connecting with my body brought me more into the feminine.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I find that like when I'm working out, or if I'm doing like I used to do a lot of hiking, or some kind of long physical activity. I used to kayak quite a bit. Now I just like go to the gym and I'm like just work out for hours at a time. During that time frame is where I'm just kind of focused on, not on anything, is where really good downloads happen. If I'm just laying in the sun, relaxing, that's when I get a lot of downloads. So like you, I don't really meditate per se. I haven't done that in a long time. I just relax and do things that, I enjoy, and not really think about anything. And then that's when I get the excellent downloads.
Yeah.
If there's something I'm focused on, I want to bring in, I just have that as part of my analytical side. Okay, I want to focus on this. And then I just do something, that's not really cerebral. I don't really focus on anything. And that's where the downloads happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's interesting. You said before you came on the video here, you'd sort of downloaded something about a past life, another past life in Egypt with the two of us.
Yeah.
Interesting that, well, that shows me you're absolutely, and not that I didn't know this already, but a channeler, because for all the years I worked with clientele, before a client came in, even if I didn't know them, I'd just see them on the books. So-and-so is coming in. So I wouldn't consciously try to do it, but I'd get a download about them.
Mm.
Interesting. So do you find that happens when you're about to go on with various different people? Do you think you're with a lot of your tribe from other lifetimes?
Yeah, I really feel that. I feel that a lot of the people that come on my shows are people that are, like we're talking about, part of the tribe,
Mhm.
or that are trying to come in and have something very significant to share, with humanity. So I like to give people that audience. And I feel like I discover a lot of people. They're very comfortable around me because maybe they watch me a little while, and then they find themselves on my show, and it's a beautiful experience because
Mhm.
I can bring out people's deeper side, because I'm in touch with that, and
Mhm.
I don't like try and focus on anything in particular. I just let it unveil like it's supposed to be, like us. I mean,
Yeah.
we didn't plan, our conversation right now, but it's evolving quite nicely.
And that was something I was going to ask. So I do watch a lot of your shows, and I noticed that you do just sort of seem to riff. Like it never seems scripted to me, but yet you have this flow that really gets the information out there. So do you at least have some side notes? Do you do a whole bunch of you're looking at the news? You're just riffing on what you feel like you're seeing in the news? That's what it feels like you're doing.
Yeah, you know, same thing during the day. If I'm going to do a show, I'm like, okay, what am I going to focus on? And before I would like struggle with it. I was like, I gotta come up with something new, something exciting. And now I'm just like I talked about, I'm just completely blank. And then I'm guided, to what to share. And some of the stuff that comes to me is just like, wow, it just blows me away on a daily basis now. The stuff that I'm sharing is just like, wow, I'm going to share that. So I don't know if I can share that on YouTube. I'm gonna have to put that on my private channel, or put it on Rumble or something like that. So there's so much that's coming out now, that's very magical,
Mhm.
and is awakening people so quickly. It's amazing. We Consciousness here on Earth has not experienced this in thousands and thousands of years, many thousands of years. So it's just very, very magical what's going on.
Yeah, I find it really exciting that, for instance, a tarot card reader
Mm.
can build an audience like I have. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
A lot of people comment and say, I never thought I'd be getting the news from a tarot card reader. And then somebody who's been in the Navy SEALs, the CIA, sharing all this intel. It's like the community is full of this rich wisdom that's
Mm.
coming from all of these different persons. I never, ever knew anything about what the life of a Navy SEAL would be like until I started listening to you, or the life of somebody who worked for the CIA, or the life of just like a divine masculine. Like that's really foreign to me. I hang out with tarot card readers, astrologers, numerologists. You know what I mean? I never saw, and then all of these other truthers bringing all of this wisdom from all of these different places. Speaking of which, do you have any favorites? And if you don't like shouting people out, that's okay. Whatever you want to do. But if you had any favorites, I'd love to hear.
Oh, you're definitely one of my favorites. Yeah, I'm listening to you every day. So, and
That's
it's like, oh,
fun.
Janine's
Yeah.
on a couple times a day. Good. So, you're definitely one of my favorites. And
Mhm.
I don't know that I have, other than you, maybe there might be one or two other people, but
Mhm.
there's not really anyone in particular. I just get a lot of information from a lot of different sources.
Mhm.
There was one time that I really liked Fox News, and then that fell off, and now I kind of like Tucker Carlson, but not
Yeah.
anybody else. And so there's some people, I feel that um the mainstream media is being hacked by the white hats.
Mm.
So there is a little bit of information that's starting to flow,
Yeah.
and that'll pick up speed, I think, as the days and weeks go forward. I think it's starting to pick up now.
Mhm.
So it's very exciting, like I said. So not anyone in particular. I think there's a lot of people out there, that have really good information. And if it's something I'm supposed to hear, that I'm going to be attracted to it. And that's pretty much where I'm at.
Yeah, that's what I do. And that goes for books too. Like if I'm looking for a new book to read, it'll usually like literally fall off the shelf. That's happened.
Oh yeah.
Or someone will place it in my hands. Like somebody will say, oh, you got to read this. And usually I'll take that as a sign. Okay, I got to read this. And I usually know within the first few pages if this is something I'm going to put some energy into.
Mm-hmm. Like my wife, Tracy, she's really opened up, and she's a great source of information for me now. So she gets a lot of stuff from a lot of people, and a lot of people send me stuff. So I'm just like I said, just completely open. And then stuff comes to me, I'm like, nah, or like, oh, that's good. And then I'll dig a little bit deeper into it. And it's like, okay, this is definitely something to share.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of sharing, I would like to offer you a reading or a couple of readings on anything you'd like to ask me about.
Yeah, let's look at the Egyptian time frame and see if we were together during that time, in the Egyptian lifetimes.
Let's see what we got.
So I would get that sometimes from clients too. They would come in and they're like, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but Jesus told me. And I was like, oh, I'm connecting with that. And then I would do research, and I would find out crazy stuff. So it's kind of fun, when you're working with people and you get information like that.
Oh boy. Okay. This is interesting. So this was me in that lifetime. So under 12 and under person, because that C word, believe it or not, if you say it too many times on YouTube, you get in trouble, if you can imagine. You would have been a soldier, and or somebody in some kind of a capacity of this guy's really, really careful, dedicated, almost like you would be dedicated to some kind of service to a king. So I'm thinking soldier, I'm thinking a knight of some kind, I'm thinking, so I don't know what era that would have been, but you would have been in the service of a king. So you're not a king yet here in this one, but you served a king. I was a person 12 and under, and there was some really bad situations that you actually helped me get out of. So that could have been the one. Remember, I had that memory of you saving me from a really bad situation. I wonder if that was the one, because this would be our dark cult. And, there's all kinds of words we could use, but we're not going to say them here, that bunch. And you took me out of a situation that could have been very harmful, to me eventually. And there's a lot of karma there built up between the two of us. So energetically, we got each other's back because of probably several, because this is in the past. So we already had all kinds of back and forth where we helped each other. And you'll find that, I think, I'm sure you know this, in past lives, where you have the past life friends who are always getting you out of scrapes and or have your back, but also the past life enemies that no matter what, they'll stab you in the back.
Yeah, they seem to show up, every lifetime. It's pretty impressive. And they find you out. It's like, there he is again. Let's get him.
Yeah.
Or her, or who, whatever. Let's get them.
Yeah.
We can't let them wake them up this time.
Yeah.
But it hasn't worked for them this time. So I think between the two of us, we've awakened many people.
And sometimes for me, you can tell at a glance who those enemies are. I'll just like the hackles will go up. And I always trust that. I don't question it. Even if it seems weird, everybody else likes them. I don't like them. I go with it. I either like them or I don't like them. And I'm usually right. You
have been amazing. We have both, noticed a few people over the last year or so. And I've commented, and I've seen you've commented on them.
Yeah.
So we have to let people wake up on their own time, though. I pointed out, you pointed out, but still those people are prominent. So it is what it is. Yeah,
it's true. Everybody has to figure that out for themselves.
Yeah.
People write me often and they want me to get involved in the truther dramas, but I'd prefer not to go after truthers with the cards. Yeah. It's like, I am known to have, some people are mad at me because I went after Kim Kim G, we'll just call her that.
Yeah.
My reason was though that she didn't even know she was compromised. So I thought that was important.
Mhm.
And of course, she's mad at me for that or whatever, but it's like, if I think it's important to get it out there, because she had a lot of viewers, and I was like, okay, we gotta get this out. And then you and I both talked about the general there,
Mhm.
which got us into all kinds of hot water.
Oh, well,
Yeah, but a whole bunch
we're
of
used
things,
to it.
yeah, a whole bunch of things are coming out now, though.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
are absolutely backing it up. So it's like,
Yeah.
sometimes you just gotta wait and everybody else will catch up
Absolutely.
when you're an intuitive person. Did you have another question for me at all about anything?
No, that's good. I think you do amazing work, and I'm honored to come on your show, and you've been on my show many times, so
Yep.
I'm glad to come on your show and return the favors.
Yeah, I'm just starting to get brave enough to think I could maybe have some people on, because I didn't think I don't really do research, but I just wanted to have chats with people to share
Yeah.
those people that I find to be fascinating. I just wanted to share insights about them, or they could share about their own selves. I
Yeah,
just want,
your interview with Dr. Christian Northrup was fascinating. I thought you guys did really, really good.
she's really cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it's funny because she must have been in the tribe too, because
Oh,
she
yeah.
instantly liked me and I instantly liked her work. So it's so cool. Yeah, fun. So is there things you want to shout out about that are coming up for you, directions you're going in, or where people can find you? Of course, we'll put your links below as well.
Oh, thank you. MichaelKJaco.com is where I have all my work. People can come on there. I just started my own channel, so that's going really well. It's got a social media, and we're going to do a YouTube on it and everything. So it's going to be all the stuff we've been, restricted from using. We'll have free access, and patriots can come in there and already are, speaking out and doing some good stuff over there. So it's fun.
Wow, that's amazing. And does that include your courses, and people can look at, because I know you endorse some products, stuff like that.
Exactly.
They can see it all there.
Absolutely. Yeah, everything's there.
It's really driving people, this whole where they're entrepreneurs. They're actually, kind of, as far as I'm concerned, they are, I can't say the word I was going to say, doing something in the foot. Pow pow. It involves a pow pow. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, there's so many words we can't say, but anyway, they're literally ruining their own platforms by demonetizing and treating people like they are, taking their content down.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that it's driving people to make their own things. I think this whole thing is making us more independent, stronger, and more powerful. And the truth cannot be hidden anymore. So it's exciting to have somebody like you on here who actually helped me find my new work, like literally want to be a truther after watching your videos.
That's great.
Yeah. And you also helped me educate myself on Mr. T, as I call him, because of course, as you know, I wasn't a fan at first because I was brainwashed by CNN. But I think I needed that experience to understand what other people go through and to understand how it can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
And we all just need to wake up to when our gut tells us. And then, of course, in my case, the cards tell us otherwise. We got to listen to our intuition and override those ego, where we want to buy into mainstream media. Like it really helps me now understand how these other, what we call normies, can be in the position they're in. I've been there and I get it. I wasn't entirely a normie, but I was always a little bit red pilled, but I was definitely a normie when it came to Mr. T. I was buying that hook, line, and sinker, which is very unfortunate, but hopefully I'm making up for it with all the truth I'm trying to bring about him. I hope he forgives me.
I would say so, and that and more so. So, discernment is an incredible thing right now. that a lot of people are starting to wake up to, that they have that ability to, discern things on their own. And, as we move forward, I think that, discernment becomes more key to avoid things that are coming. So a little bit of dark period, but, on the other side of that is some amazing things that are coming.
Yeah. And we got to focus on that, not just stay in the dark rabbit holes. I know it's so important.
Totally.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Michael Jaco, for coming on, honoring my channel. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to love this video. I can't wait to put it up. Yay.
It's a pleasure to work with you again, in this lifetime. In past lifetimes, we had to protect you. In this lifetime, you're out on your own, blowing it up. So it's good.
Yeah, I'm brave this lifetime. No more
Yeah.
a victim, but I've been absolutely, if you look at my birth chart, a victim many lifetimes, but I am never going to do that again. They're never going to victimize me. And I'm helping other people not see themselves as a victim.
Excellent.
Right on.
All right. Lots of love to you and your audience.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Oops.